jacket.
Thank you. Do you like it? The military thing.
Yeah.
It was very planned. A bit too 21st century, but it was planned. Well, Sam Mendes, it is an absolute honour to speak to you.
Oh, thank you.
When it came to 1917, this is the one-shot movie. Where on earth did that idea come from?
Well, actually, there are a couple of other one-shot movies, although none quite like this one.
I think I would agree with that.
Yeah. At the beginning of Spectre, the last Bond movie that I directed, there's an 8-minute opening shot in Mexico City. That's one shot. And I really loved doing it. And while I was doing it, I thought, wouldn't it be extraordinary? I mean, I wasn't thinking specifically about this subject matter, but I thought, wouldn't it be extraordinary to do a whole movie like this? And then the idea for this film came to me. It's always been lingering in the back of my mind because it's a story my grandfather told me. It's based on a fragment of a story my grandfather told me.
What did it mean, because this film is dedicated to him, what did it mean to kind of make this movie that is dedicated to your own family history?
Well, first of all, it's the first script I've ever written, or you're already feeling very personal about it. It means you feel much more vulnerable about it. You care much more what people think. I mean, you always care what people think, but it's
More
different
so
on
for
this
this,
one.
yeah.
Yeah, it's different. You feel, and I suppose you feel a duty to him, but also to the men who fell alongside him, and a whole generation of men. I mean, it's if you live in the UK, the First War still casts an enormous shadow for a war that finished over 100 years ago now. Every village, every town has that memorial that you're so used to seeing to the fallen, and you wear your poppy on Remembrance Day, and it has a cultural significance, and so you feel a responsibility. But at the same time, you don't want to make a history lesson. You don't want to make something that's dry and dusty and feels like it all happened in the past and could never happen again. You want to use every tool you have in your arsenal to make a contemporary film, contemporary score, everything, every bell and whistle that you can use that cinema can give you, and that's what I think we've done with this.
Because that kind of does bring me on to my next question. I was on the edge of my seat the whole movie. It was intense. It was gripping. But you were talking about using your skills in your arsenal. So how did you use your previous skills that you've learned through directing the likes of Spectre, Skyfall? How did you use those skills to make up this particular movie and everything that you've learned so far?
I think I've sort of used everything all I've learned in both arenas, both film and theatre. Theatre was a big thing for me because I'm from the theatre, and I'm very used to, working on a story of 2 hours where there are no cuts at all because it's a play, so that was very helpful. And then knowing how to construct and handle the big bangs that come with a Bond movie, the big orchestral moments of action and large numbers of background, and it gives you a courage, because everything after Bond feels quite manageable, because Bond is so, it's so impossible to get your arms around because it's shooting on multiple continents and many different units and often many different cameras. So even though this is ambitious, one camera following two people, through one consistent location seems almost, I wouldn't say simple, but it's certainly, it's more concentrated than a Bond movie.
It kind of seems simple on paper, but actually doing it, not so simple.
No.
But just finally, what do you personally want people to get out of this movie?
I want people to understand the human experience of this war, and by inference all wars, really. I want you to fall in love with these boys and go with them on this journey and not know where you're going. As a filmmaker, you make an experience for somebody. You don't want to sum it up in a sentence, or you don't want to lecture them or write an essay about it. You want people to go into that cinema with open minds and hearts. And in this movie, you need to know nothing about the First World War. You need to know nothing. You just drop down with these two men and you go on their journey with them. And in that respect, I think what you want is for people to come out having had an experience like the one you talked about, been moved, have little fragments, images, things that stay with them, hopefully, for a long time.
I gotta say though, those boys were very likeable, weren't they? Sam, thank you so much.
Well, thank you.
Absolute honour.
Pleasure. Thanks a lot.
Thank you.